This is David Fortier with Talking Bristol. We're here today with Lisa Whitney, who is the chair of the board of directors at Brian's Angels. And we will be right with you, Lisa. It's great to have you here. Once again, this is Talking Bristol. And if you like what we do, you know that you can always like this. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And you can also join up on our website and sign up for our email, our daily email and our newsletter. So we are here today with Lisa, right? And with Brian's Angels. And Brian's Angels is pretty much, well, I guess if you don't know what Brian's Angels is, how would you describe Brian's Angels?
We are a homeless outreach center that provides respite services for our homeless individuals and connections to other services.
See, and that's why you're the chairman you're the chairperson, chairwoman of the board. Yes, you're the chair of the board. Yes. And we have a dilemma right now because it looks like Brian's Angels location is closing, not Brian's Angels itself. Yeah. And so we will get into some details and some statistics about how many people are served by Brian's Angels and what other kinds of services and resources you provide. But right now we want to learn a little bit about you, and we were chatting earlier, and this wouldn't be your forte, speaking in public like this, but you did choose to come out here today. So maybe you can tell us how you got involved with Brian's Angels.
Well, August 15th, Brian's Angels, as an organization, celebrated their 11th anniversary. So on August 15th, 11 years ago, Pat Stebbins was taking walks on the boulevard where she walked her dog every day and began conversing with some unhoused individuals that were having, and she asked them, it's a very hot sunny day, asked them, where do you get water? How do you survive out here? And they said, well, that's very difficult because, the restaurants don't really want us to come in just to give us water. They want to charge us. Can't really use bathrooms. So that's where Pat's journey started. So she began handing out water to unhoused individuals walking up and down the boulevard. That became visible. I noticed it. I started bringing her cases of water.
When you say you noticed it, did you actually see her handing out water?
I saw her handing out water. I saw her. She was set up on the boulevard. There was a picnic table, and she had a case of water out. So that's initially when I saw it, and then it was mentioned on Facebook or somewhere that it was Pat Stebbins, and this is what she was doing. So I put some cases of water in the back of my car, and I brought them to her because I thought it was, it was an amazing thing, and I know the difficulties. I've had family members that have had difficulties that are similar, and just wanted to help her begin this journey that she was beginning.
Yeah.
Never imagining what it would turn into at some point.
You said 11 years, so.
11 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
So Pat continued doing that. BCO at the time was on South Street. And
then BCO was Bristol Community Organization.
That's correct. Right. And they had taken a small space within their location, and they got a grant to open a warming and cooling center. It was wintertime. As it went into wintertime, so they opened a warming center so that individuals could come in and get warm for a few hours every day, have a sandwich, a little snack, but basically have a safe place to go. So that's where it started. Unfortunately, their grant ran out at the end of that winter, so they were not able to continue it. There was a group with St. Vincent de Paul and some other organizations that were working on this food insecurity and the homelessness task force, I guess you would call it. And they said, well, we don't have the funding, we can't continue this anymore. And Pat Stebbins raised her hand and said, I will do this with volunteers. And they told her there was no way she could do this with volunteers. And
little did they know.
Brian's Angels was born. We initially opened up in what's called the Sunroom at the St. Vincent de Paul Center. we used a small area in what I call their kitchen. It's not really a full kitchen. It
Mhm.
just has some cabinets and some drawers. And they have a room that had some couches and some tables and chairs. So we opened there initially. We're there for about 4 years. And before we moved to our current location at the Prospect United Methodist Church, we're on the lower level, where we lease some space from them. So, at that time, we were probably serving anywhere from 15 to 25 people a day. And provide basically what we provided was a snack, we called it in the afternoon, a sandwich, a piece of fruit, some chips. But there were other available opportunities for food for most people. So they had a soup kitchen that was open, and Salvation Army provided food at different times. And so there were other available resources for food.
Now, was that, so there was, in the morning, there was breakfast someplace
Yes.
at this point, and that would be, and then you have the Salvation Army would be open for lunches, and then dinners you had, well, we had
Occasionally, dinners were at the
with Zion, yeah,
had the soup kitchen.
and which is now, they've been
Meals for neighbors.
Meals for Neighbors.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just trying to get those
Yep.
things correctly.
Yep.
And we're talking specifically about pre-COVID time. You figure it would be,
That's correct.
so that'd be about 6 years ago. So we're talking 2018, 2019,
Just-
4 years in, and
Just
people have
before
this
COVID.
routine, and you said 15 to 20, 20 to 25
Yes.
people. All right, okay.
And then COVID. And when COVID hit, everything shut down. So there were no more resources for food for any of our own housed individuals. So Pat and I continued to open our doors to provide services to everybody outside. So we enlisted our community, this community in Bristol and the surrounding towns, because we receive services, we receive donations from throughout this whole greater Bristol area, are amazing, because we put a call out and said, can people provide us with hot food? And we will feed our homeless individuals.
And you're still over at St. Vincent de Paul.
No, we
No?
were, at this point, we were at Prospect.
So you made the move
Church. We
to,
had made
okay,
that move
all right, okay.
Shortly before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
So we put chairs 6 feet apart out in our parking lot,
Yeah.
and our unhoused individuals could come there, and we served meals out the door. We set up the plastic cases.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The whole 9 yards. But we continued to do that. So we provided them a meal in the afternoon. We gave them bags to go that had snacks and sandwiches or anything that we could provide for kind of to fill in for an evening meal, because that was the only source of food at that point in time. Yeah. So, and again, then we continued, we were probably serving 20 to 25 people a day.
And how many volunteers at this particular time?
At this time, well, that's very difficult, because we say volunteers. Volunteers are not necessarily just the ones that are inside of our location, because we have volunteers that bring us supplies, we have volunteers that cook for us, we have volunteers that provide many different types of services for us, and bring different things. Some of them do social media work for us. Some of them do, at this point, we have over 900 volunteers across our whole organization.
Is that right? What a network. Yes.
And that includes, we have meal trains, we have, all different.
So when you say a meal train, what's a meal train? You're educating people. Yes, yes.
It's an app on your phone that is a calendar, and you can go on, we put what our needs are on there, and you can go on and sign up to provide a meal or provide fruit or provide water or provide sugar. You can pick anything that you would like to provide for us. And you sign up on it, and then you bring it to our location.
Wow. Now, is this app something that exists for everyone, or is this?
That's correct.
But are there other organizations that use this app?
Yes,
Or there are. So this is something that's out there.
This is something that's out there.
Yeah, it's technology that works, apparently. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, typically a meal train is used, say somebody has a member of their family that's hospitalized and or has a bad accident. friends of theirs will put together a meal train to provide food to that family. So it's for a short time frame. Brian's Angels utilizes it to a much greater extent.
Yeah, that's
Our volunteers can sign up on there. All our food that's provided is on there. We have Amazon wish lists, so people can donate. Can provide different things. They can order it right on their Amazon list, and it gets delivered to us.
Wow.
So there's many different areas. So that's why I said when we say 900 volunteers, it's amazing. Some of those volunteers are infrequently. Some of them are several times a week.
Yeah.
Some of them, we have many that are in our location. We basically need to have 5 or 6 volunteers every day inside our location in order just to run the everyday meals and preparing our bags to go that we give for people.
All right, so we're just about COVID right now, and you're feeding 20 to 25 people a day.
Things start opening up again after COVID, but unfortunately at that time, there were no food resources that reopened. The soup kitchen didn't reopen. Salvation Army was not reopening at that point for any kind of distribution of food on a regular basis. So we continued. And, as things progressed, other organizations started doing a little bit more. Meals for Neighbors came into where the soup kitchen at Zion Church is. They opened on Monday because we were closed on Monday. We were open 6 days a week. Monday's our only day that we're closed. So they reopened the soup kitchen on Monday, and then they added Tuesday, and I believe they recently added Wednesday to the service. But there isn't a consistent place to go and get a hot meal.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and my assumption was that there was. Just I'm not very connected to this or knowledgeable about what's happening. Yeah.
There are other places. Agape House in the morning. You've had Matt on here several times. So the Agape House is available in the morning. Salvation Army does a light lunch on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. Soup Kitchen, the Meals for Neighbors does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But there's not a consistent place to go that you can count on every day. So we have continued. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we just do a sandwich, chips, fruit, pudding, something like just for basically a snack, because we do direct all of our individuals to use the soup kitchen, to use, some of the other resources that are available. But on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we still do hot meals.
Hot meals, yeah.
Saturday, Sunday. So,
all right. So, so how many people are you up to now?
Well, we serve anywhere from 50 to 75 people a day.
Which
right now,
which says that there are people who are. How do you define the circumstances?
Well, obviously there are many different definitions of homeless.
Right. Yeah.
The state has one definition of homeless. A school will have another definition. We don't try and define anybody. If somebody's hungry, we have people that are living in their cars. We have people that may be couch surfing with friends, but that doesn't last long. There's lots of different reasons why they come through our doors. Some of them may be housed. Some of them we may have, we have had many success stories. We get people and get them into jobs, get them into housing, but they're still very food insecure. And they also know we care, so there's a connection there that they come for.
It's called community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the word for that one. I can define that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the demographics have changed so much. Pre-COVID, when we had 20 to 25 people a day, I would say that 80% of our clients were males between the ages of 20 and 40 that may have found themselves in some situations that found them outside and unhoused. Now, that's the minority. The number of senior citizens and disabled people and women and children and families living in cars, is just incredible. We have, I would estimate that we have on average one person a day that comes in and says, I'm newly homeless. What do I do?
So the numbers, aside from being amazed by all that, yeah, the numbers have increased. Why is that? We don't live in a vacuum. We
No.
do hear things that reasons why, but how would you define those reasons? What would you say are some of the things that people are homeless or unhoused?
Well, it's housing costs. I've had senior citizens. I had one woman was 84 years old, and she came in and said, I got evicted. What do I do?
And what do you do? I mean,
I said, I can't give a tent to an 84-year-old woman to go sleep in the woods.
Yeah, right.
And I said, how did you get here? Let's talk about it. But her husband had passed away a number of years ago. She was living in an apartment that she could afford. She lived on Social Security. She lost her husband's Social Security when he passed away, but she's living on her own. She was barely making ends meet, and her house was sold. The house that she lived in was a 3-family house. It was sold. The new owners came in. They upped her rent substantially, and she couldn't afford to pay it. And she spoke, very little English. She was served with eviction papers and notice to quit, and didn't understand it. At 84 years old, she never expected to find herself in this situation, didn't understand what was happening, didn't show up to court until a sheriff knocked on her door. And it happens, and she really, she didn't understand what the process was. Yeah. She's never been exposed to it. She didn't,
she had a place to live.
That's one example. That's one thing, yeah. And that's, and I have to work with her to try and get her into shelter somewhere, which is next to impossible. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds a lot like our healthcare system, where if you need a bed, so it's an emergency, it's very difficult to do that.
St. Vincent de Paul has 20 beds here in Bristol. I would estimate we have over 100 homeless people that are unhoused, homeless people in the Bristol area.
Sure.
Either living in cars or tents or.
So what do you attribute that to? I mean, okay, people, it's people talk in broad swaths. They talk about the economy, but what are some specifics? And like this woman, she had her situation where she was housed, and then she wasn't.
And she wasn't.
Yeah.
It's the housing cost. That is huge. There's not. We'll take the 84-year-old woman as an example. Can I get her into senior housing where it's income based? Well, I could, but there's a 2 or 3 year waiting period to get into anything in Bristol. This is the area she knows. This is where the people are that she knows. Could I get her into something in Stonington? Maybe, but what does that do for her? So it's very difficult to find the solutions, but it's also, what are the requirements for getting, she now has an eviction on her record.
Yeah.
There's not a landlord that'll take her. And, outside of Brian's Angels, I'm a commercial real estate broker. I have my own business. So I've been working in real estate for 40 years. But so I work with, investment companies all the time that own all of these rentals. You can't get, if anybody's got an eviction on their record, you can't get into an apartment.
Yeah.
You hope you can find a private landlord that might listen to the story and have some empathy, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Do you work with any lawyers? Do you have lawyers on your, I was going to say your Rolodex, but on your phone and your contacts?
Oh, I've got many lawyers in my Rolodex. But it's, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult.
So we talked a little bit about the history. So what are some of the accomplishments to date? Some figures, some numbers that
I
people
can give you some statistics. I did bring a few with me.
Okay.
For the last year, Brian's Angels served 13,000 meals at lunchtime, which means that we also gave out 13,000 to-go bags. We give out a to-go bag at the end of the day
to serve as an evening meal because there isn't someplace to get an evening meal. So it contains 2 sandwiches, fruit, something sweet, something salty, couple waters, something to carry somebody over to the next morning.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's 26,000 meals
Yeah.
that we served
That
in
is,
the last
yes.
year. We serve, we have a whole area we give out clothing needs. We had 342 individual people come at various times throughout the year. And some of them it's once a week. Some of them have been there only once or twice. But we had 342 individuals that we keep clothed. We had one of the big things that we do is we have a shower available for our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So they can come in, they can shower every other day. We usually have 6 or 7 people a day while we're open in our 3 hours
Yeah.
to take showers and provide them with the necessities that they have. So we had 1,200 showers done. We have laundry cards. We give our clients a laundry card every week to provide laundry. We pay for that service.
Mm-hmm.
We gave out 900 laundry cards last year.
So, and just where does your funding come from for this? Is this all volunteers?
It's all we are 100% volunteer organization, run 100% on donations made to us. We occasionally have grants for specific projects that we will apply for grants for, but mostly it's this community. This community is amazing to support our efforts. And believe me, our clients appreciate it. And I can't tell you how grateful I hear the comments every single day from every one of our clients.
And yet we are at a crossroads.
We are.
Apparently the lease is up.
Our lease is up. I think, like I said, we have so outgrown our space with the services that we provide and the number of clients that we have on any given day. It's for many of our clients, it's a place for respite. They can come, they can take a nap on a couch in a safe place for a few hours. They can find care from somebody, that's what we're there for. But right now we have, I am diligently searching to see if there's another location where we can continue our services in some manner. But absent that, we will be closing our doors. We will stop serving at the end of August. We have to be out of our space by the end of September. So we will, we'll continue on that path while I still continue to investigate many other avenues of where we may be able to.
So Brian's Angels as an entity does not end. It just needs a location, and it has in the meantime.
Pat and I have had several conversations about. Pat has had some pretty serious medical issues over the last couple of years as well, which is why I've gotten even more intimately involved in the actual operation. So we've had these discussions. Where do you want it to go? What do you want it to be? Brian was Pat's son. That's who our organization is named after. So it will continue on in some manner. At a minimum, if we had to totally close and couldn't provide our services anymore, we would create some type of a foundation and we would continue to provide. What we like to do is provide services that can't be found elsewhere. So whether it's, helping with rent deposits, security deposits on rents, or, in many cases, it's, we have people that maybe are able to transport them to, say, Texas because they have a cousin there that will take them in and they get a job lined up. There's not a resource to find the funding for that. So we've done a lot of that too. As long as we can help to stabilize somebody, we help them with the transportation costs or that type of thing. So
the expansive nature of the resources. I'm amazed by that. Because I know Brian's Angels here, and I walk by it every day when I go for my walks. We've made donations.
Yep.
I had no idea of the range and the extent of what's happening.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? So you were,
well,
there's a fundraiser on the 30th.
There is a
There's a
fundraiser on the
fundraiser. It's a
30th.
new-
We
it's-
have our barbecue, which is
Yes.
kind of a thank you to, for our clients, for our volunteers, for all of our, all the people that have donated to us, for all of our community members. Please come. We are
And
doing a
that's gonna be-
fundraiser.
That will be,
That will be in our parking lot at
Okay.
Prospect United Methodist Church. It's the parking lot off of Center Street. And, we will be doing that as a fundraiser. We will continue to do whatever we can do to try and help our clients. I make many treks out in the woods to bring
Mhm.
supplies to people. We've got people in tents that literally can't get anywhere. So I bring supplies out to them.
and they can't get anywhere because they have
A medical issue. They have a disability issue. They have a mental health issue. But we try to do whatever we can do to.
And if someone
to help
were
them.
going to, were finding out about this for the first time and they would like to help, how would they go about that?
Well, right now, I would say, if anybody has any ideas about a location, let me know.
Okay, and how do they get
Lisa-
how they, yes, there you
Lisa at briansangels.org.
go. Okay, there you go. So email you there.
I
Right.
am investigating many different areas. I know our organization is, it's not an easy one to place. The location is very important for our clients' standpoint, but it's also very important from a community standpoint. There are certain perceptions that come with homelessness, and we encounter those all the time. We try and minimize them as much as possible for our clients. But definitely, get in touch with me, continue to donate. We will continue our work.
Okay. Any thoughts?
It's a very sad day. Our volunteers they're in tears.
Mhm.
They really are, because they're all very passionate about what we do.
Well, Lisa, thank you for coming on, talking
Thank
Bristol.
you very much for
This-
having me, because
This is eye-opening, and the work you do is tremendous. I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank your volunteers, of whom I'm just finding
That's
out
who it
about.
is.
All of you guys are wonderful.
that's who does it.
And thank you to Pat for getting the ball rolling.
Yes.
And the hope is that somebody will come forward or something will occur so that we can kind of, you can continue with this. And
I hope so.
Yes. So again, thank you so much. And we will be sending good vibes and prayers.
Thank you, Dave.
This is Dave Fortier with Talking Bristol. If you like what we're doing, you can like our stories. You can follow us on Facebook. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website. If you have the resources and you can do that, we also are a 501c3 and you can make a donation to us and on our website. So thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you so much for reviewing this. And this is Dave Fortier signing off.